Hey guys, today I wanted to talk about goal setting, and I thought probably the easiest way for me to talk about goal setting is by talking about my goals. The way I like to think of certain goals is we can have some short-term goals, medium-term goals and long-term goals, and by doing that, these short-term and medium ones can lead to these long-term goals. With that in mind, here are some of my short-term goals. I tested my 1 rep maxes, I think back in February. I want to beat those numbers. I've got 2.5 weeks left on this particular block, another 4 before I get into testing. So when I do, I'm hoping to beat my previous 1 rep maxes, short-term goal. A little bit longer term goal is I want to just simply compete successfully. For those who don't know, I injured my back a couple years ago, so it's amazing that I can just do the power lifts without any pain, touch wood. That's the next goal. So with that goal in mind, November is the time at which I want to compete. If all the training goes well, that's what I'll do. I want to hit a 200 kilo deadlift. For some people, that's nothing. That's a warm-up. For other people, that seems so far-fetched. For me, the very last competition I did, I weighed in at just over 80 kilos. I was horrendously ill about 2 weeks before that, so I'd actually dropped a bit of weight. I was probably more realistically around 82 kilos. And I hit a 190 kilo deadlift, so I wasn't far off. Since then, obviously I injured my back, but I've also lost a lot of weight, and I still have that goal in mind. That I would argue is a bit more medium-term goal. My last testing I hit 175. I had the potential to hit 180, but I wanted to be a bit conservative and careful of my back. So I think that's well within reaching distance, but not in a short-term amount of time. So I'd argue that's my medium-term goal. I would also like to hit my old 1 rep max for my squat. Again, when I weighed in around 80 kilos, I hit 162.5 kilos. My previous testing, I hit 145. Again, I'm a lot lighter than I was. So to hit that sort of weight at 162.5, weighing what I do now, which is around 73, that's another medium-term goal. After that, I would like to total over 1,000 pounds. So when I say total, that's the adding up of my bench, my squat, and my deadlift 1 rep maxes. Again, last competition, I was actually 2.5 kilos short. No, sorry, I think it was 2.5 pounds short. I can't quite remember now. But I was very close to 1,000 pound total. I thought I had it in the bag actually, but I missed my bench and that was that. So that would be great if I could then hit that goal. I think that's something that's going to come after my 200 kilo deadlift and 162.5 kilo squat. So that I'm putting into a medium term goal. Now my longer term goals, I would love to put up some actual competitive numbers in a regional meet. The numbers I'm putting up are strong. They're not fantastic. They're not terrible. I would argue I'm stronger than your average gym goer, but I'm a weak powerlifter, so it would be fantastic to be able to put up some competitive numbers. With my back in mind, that's going to be a long-term goal. I'm looking at probably the next 2 to 3 years before those numbers start to get relatively competitive. Further down the line, I'd love to set a record of some description, whether it's regional, whether it's national, whether it's in a total, whether it's in a single lift. That would be brilliant. Whether or not that happened, who knows, but it'd be brilliant. And we're probably looking at 6 or 7 years' time. I would also love to qualify for nationals. That's probably in the same region as setting a record. So it's a very long-term goal. 3 years or more is probably realistic. And then last goal, I would like quads like Rob's. That's completely unrealistic. Check him out. He's got enormous quads. They are my goal. Maybe in 10 years.